Hey, today I'm out in the shop working on my Ryobi pressure washer. This is a Ryobi RY80030 is the model number. It's a 3000 psi 7 horse. It has the Subaru 7 horse engine on it, and this little pressure washer has been great. It's never given me a problem. It developed rust in the tank, so I also had left the fuel on. It comes with a valve right here to turn the fuel on and off. So you can see the sticker's long gone, so I've used a silver paint on it to show me which way my choke is on and off, and then to open and close the valve that's on the carburetor. So the choke is here, so it's in here, and then the little valve. And I had left the valve on. I didn't run it out of fuel. I didn't run the carburetor out of fuel the last time I used it, and I left it sitting out in the rain is what I believe did me in. I have a tremendous amount of rust in the fuel tank, and also look at the float bowl. The bowl for the carburetor is just filled up with a muddy rust slurry. So I've already hit the carburetor with a little bit of carburetor cleaner to clean it up. I still need to pull it completely off and clean it, but when I tried to run this, it started and ran for about 30 seconds. It was running good, so I put more fuel in it, and then it died and would not restart. And so then I discovered that it had a rusty tank. As I'm trying to clean the carburetor, I thought I just had to clean the carburetor, but it has this screen that goes in the fuel tank, so you couldn't see it's rusty just by looking in the top. And I didn't bother to take the little screen out, which this little screen is nice, keeps debris out of the tank. So but apparently this little area here doesn't keep water out of the fuel tank if it sits out in the rain. So that's where I'm at. I gotta finish cleaning the carburetor, but I'm gonna treat this rusty tank. And you can see, I don't know if you saw from the original when I started the video, I have a gallon of Evapo-Rust. I've used that in the past, used it many times on my rusty vehicles here. And in the northern states, we use a lot of salt on the roads, so I'm always having to deal with corrosion and rust. If you watch my other videos, you know I hate corrosion and rust. And that Evapo-Rust, it's super safe rust remover. It's like a all natural, but it takes a long time to work. So I'm going to try something else at least to start with, and see if it works on this tank. So if it doesn't, if I ruin this tank, then I probably won't publish this video. But if it works good on this tank, then I'll share it with you. There's another rust remover that I've used for cleaning toilets. I have a well pump. I'm out here in the country where I have my own septic system and own well pump, and I have quite a bit of rust that comes up out of my well. So I treat my water system, I treat my sinks and my toilets with this rust remover, and I also treat my softener periodically, once a quarter or something, you know, whenever it needs salt, you know, once every 6 months or something. And then when I clean my whole house water filter, I use this to clean the water filter canister. And I'm going to try it on this tank, but like I said, if I ruin the tank, I probably won't show you the video. But if it does well on this tank, I'll let you know, because it's going to clean this tank in about 20 minutes, where this Evapo-Rust takes like overnight or something to clean a small tank like this. It's incredibly slow working, but Evapo-Rust does work, and you can use it. It's safe. You can pour that down the drain or pour it out on the, you know, out on your yard or whatever when you're done with it. It's super safe. But what I'm going to treat this with is not, so you have to be careful with it, and you don't want to breathe in the vapors. This is the product I'm going to use. It's an iron out. It's a rust stain remover, and like I said, it works really good in the softener. You're able to use it in your toilet and your laundry. I don't know about you know, that's like an enamel coated in your laundry or in your toilets, so You know, I know it works fine on plastics and the water softener. I mean, there's a metal screen in your water softener, so you're able to use it for that. But I don't know about a metal tank. So here's why you should use it outside. I'm in the shop. I had this tub outside a few minutes ago, but I brought it into the shop because it's so sunny out. So I've already added a little bit of it with water. So when you're putting it in the softener, you mix it with water, you can put it directly onto a rusty component like the sink or whatever. As you can see how it bubbles, that's not good to breathe, and you don't want to touch it. You don't want to either touch the powder or the liquid with your hands. So I'm going to go to latex gloves. I'm going to stir it with an old plastic straw. And this is the screen and the nipple that came out of the bottom of the tank. This is supposed to be white, so it was a little bit of rust on it. It's already taken out quite a bit of rust. You can see a few particles there. So I'm going to clean that with carburetor cleaner, definitely before I put it back in. But this is all plastic. Let's see if it'll continue to work on the rest of that rust. But I'm going to mix a water solution before I put it into my metal gas tank. So you can see the reaction with water. So definitely be in a well ventilated space. I'm near my garage door is open and my man door is open, so I have a good breeze blowing through here. I'd prefer to be outside, but it's sunny today. So since I have that nipple and that screen out of the bottom, used a little rubber stopper to plug the bottom. I still think that's going to leak, but if it goes onto my garage floor, that's probably okay. Take it back outside. And I just rinsed out my tank with water to get most of that big stuff out. I'm going to use this slurry. Looks like it's cleaned the screen pretty good. I'm going to use that slurry and just pour it in there. Need to add some more water and mix it up better the next time. It's water from the pitcher that I use to mix this up before I put it in the softener. And usually when I clean my whole house water filter, I just change the filter with a new one, but I rinse the housing out with this, and it's usually 20 minutes or less, and it's clean. I probably added way too much to the tank just now. Let's see, add some water. I want to fill the tank up so everything, the whole inside surface is covered with the liquid. And I'm going to go ahead and stop this and go take it outside so it can just sit for 20 minutes or so. and then I'll come back. One word of caution, one thing you don't want to do is put this in with water into a sealed container, because like I showed you, there's bubbling. It's giving off a gas. I don't know what gas that is, but it pressurizes. So I made the mistake when I was first using this. I put it in a glass jar, a mason jar, and put the lid on it thinking I could shake it up to get it to work, and it immediately started to buckle the lid, and I quickly took the lid back off of it before it exploded and broke the glass in my face. So be very careful with this. Don't put the gas cap back on your tank if you're doing this. Wanted to bring you outside here and show you this. I filled the water all the way to the top, and you can see how it's still bubbling, and my stopper didn't completely stop the water from draining out, so I'm losing water a little bit, but it's all the way to the top. You can see how the rusty rim here turned black. So that's how quickly this works. And here, there's no fooling around like Evapo-Rust. You know, you really would probably need to sit that overnight. And I know for a fact though that Evapo-Rust does not hurt metal. It just works on the rust. So this, however, I don't know. It probably will stop after the rust is all absorbed. And look how the liquid is turning black. I don't know if you can see that in the camera, but it has a tendency to turn the rust, the orange rust, to black. Turns it into manganese or something. I don't know what exactly it is. After about 20 minutes, I'm not seeing any bubbles. I just went ahead and topped it back off, and it's continuing to drain. My stopper isn't completely stopping, but I'm gonna use a green pad again with latex gloves or the neoprene gloves on, and I'm gonna clean up the rust around the rim here. That seems to clean up pretty quick. Just a light rubbing. I'm gonna continue to clean that up, but it's not bubbling anymore. So I think I'm gonna dump this out and see how it's doing. And if I need to add another treatment to it, I will. So that's what it looks like after about 20 minutes. I'm still seeing some rust, some orange in there. And let's see if I can get a straight angle in there. I cannot. So, and get the light in at the same time. Let's see if I can turn the light on. Still a little bit of rust color down in there. You can see it. So I'm gonna do one more treatment for about 20 minutes. See if I can get all that rust out of there. Here we are after the second treatment. Flashes back to orange pretty fast inside, but I rinsed it out with water, dried it with air, and then sloshed gasoline inside it all around, trying to coat it to protect it from rusting. But you can see how orange it still is. It just flashes back to that orange color or the unprotected metal. So it would had some kind of a coating inside. You can see the black, that's some kind of a protective coating, paint or something. And then where the coating has failed, it's rusty. And then of course where the attachment point in there, the threads, and if you can see that right there, the little square headed threaded area where the nipple goes on, that's down here. So I'm pleased with it. There's no big junk of rust in there anymore, but it looks like it flashes back to rust pretty fast, so I'm gonna have to keep gas in it. And I have noticed that this seal on the cap, this seal lets water in. You can tip the whole tank upside down and either fuel or water comes right out of this seal. So I really need a new cap or a new seal for this cap. And that's what let water in. I assume, you know, left it out in the rain got in here and able to go right into the tank. So I need to make sure I keep my pressure washer in the shed and out of the rain, and keep this from being sprayed with water when I'm pressure washing. I'm going to go ahead and put the tank back on. It just attaches with 2 nuts on these studs and then a bolt on this side. So 2 holes here, 2 slots, and then a hole here, a standoff where the tank goes. As I'm reassembling my pressure washer, I'll time lapse this for you. Now, the iron out seemed to work very good. It worked very fast, and it's water soluble, so you can rinse it all out with just water. The inside of my tank seemed to flash back to rust pretty quickly, and I didn't treat it with anything. I just sloshed around some new fuel, some fresh fuel inside to try to protect it and coat it with that fuel. I really should use a coating that's gasoline safe to protect those untreated surfaces inside my tank. But at this time I'm going to put the pressure washer back into service so I can do some pressure washing on my driveway and deck. Let me just add one further thought here. The Evapo-Rust works very good, but it takes so long. It takes a day just to do some surface rust. But it is environmentally friendly and it does work. I've also used some petroleum jelly type products and other etching products, but I think this rust out seemed to work very effectively. I don't know what the disadvantages are besides the gases that it gives off and the byproducts that you have. You know, you can't touch it with your hand, but it turns everything black into like a magnesium, or I'm not sure what the chemical process is. The Iron Out or parent company Summit Brands website didn't have any information on this and what the chemical process is. I attempted to do the research on that. Yeah, I put a little bit of fuel in it and making sure last line of cleaning, clean the carburetor, but I just want to make sure that the line and the fuel bowl drain, and I can push up on the float, make sure that valve stops it, the needle valve, and it does. So that's good. Looks like it's draining pretty good now. Of course, when I put the float bowl back on, I can always just turn off my valve here. So let's make sure my valve closes off, and it does. So I'm gonna let it drain just a little bit more, make sure there's no contaminants in the line and into the carburetor there. When I tried to start it just now, not only was it hydro-locked, which I, could easily figure out, so just take the spark plug out and pull the starting cable several times to clean out the cylinder, but all that gunk, the water and fuel mixture, rust, went into the crankcase. So I also have to change the engine oil. So the crankcase was completely full of fuel also. So I let that drain for a while, and now I'm going to add fresh engine oil. Let's see if it'll start. Fuel open, on. Oh, sounds pretty good. I lost my little screen that goes to the inlet of the pump. Now I'm going to put some fresh fuel through my carburetor, and there's no better way to do that than to run the engine. And to run the engine, you might as well run the pump. So I'm going to pressure wash asphalt outside the shop. So that concludes the video. If you found it helpful, let me know in the comments, and please subscribe. I look forward to your comments.